Oh, I can just start whenever. Oh no.
Maybe not quite to the walls.
Okay. Like this. Perfect.
Can I look at my notes again? I know what I do, but I haven't written a list.
This is a lot harder than you think.
Can I say the word like cool? Can I describe a project as cool?
Hi, I'm Finn and I'm on the Ministers team.
Hi, I'm Darwin and I'm on the Public Services team.
Hi, I'm Callum, I'm on the Public Bodies team.
Hi, I'm Bryony and I work on the devolution team.
Hi, I'm Samir. I work for the Civil Service team.
I'm Anna and I'm the Communications intern.
I'm Jeremy and I work in the Public Finances team. Oh, lots of things. But recently, most recently, I was back at university as a mature student doing degrees in politics and public administration.
I was a master's student, so I was doing a degree in economic history at the LSE. And it was there that I started wondering what I was going to do after I graduated. So this is when I started moving towards working in like a think tank and such.
So I'd graduated in 2022 and kind of just went to the first job that would have me. So I was working as an operations assistant in a manufacturing company, and someone I knew sent me the advertisement and suggested that it might be something I was interested in, so then I just applied.
Before I joined the IfG in October, I just completed a 4-year integrated master's course in natural sciences, and then I did a 6-week internship at the Department for Transport.
So I had graduated from university and I'd taken a year out and was living and working abroad in something completely unrelated to what I'm currently doing here at the IfG. And then I was back in London and pursuing journalism, communication of sorts, and gaining experience in various media and journalism outlets. And then was looking for communications opportunities and came across the internship being advertised by the IfG and thought I'd apply.
So I joined straight from university where I studied history. I'd followed the IfG's work for quite a while. I'd been particularly interested in sort of the parliamentary side of the IfG's work, particularly some of the sort of longer reports like Parliament Monitor. So I'd just been sort of following for a while, and then I saw the IfG's internship advertised on Twitter.
Before I applied for the IfG, I was about halfway through my public policy masters. Yeah, I'd heard about the IfG before, probably when I was doing A-level politics. I saw the opportunity come up for the internship, and I'd actually applied for it the year before and not been successful, so I tried not to take that personally and gave it another shot.
I applied because it seemed such a great opportunity to do the things that I'd been learning about and put them into practice, and to be involved.
I applied because I had absolutely no preconception of what a job in the think tank was like. So I thought I'd just have a go, see what it was like, and if it was good, who knows what will happen. And I ended up, in a sense, being very lucky.
So I'd sort of seen the IfG's work for a long time. I'd used it while I was studying at university, and I always found it really interesting and really helpful in my work. So yeah, I sort of wanted to jump on the opportunity to contribute to that, and also to kind of make more of an impact than I felt that I could have in academia.
I'd enjoyed so much the IfG's content, I just sort of wanted to get involved with sort of what the IfG does, doing some sort of original research.
In the end, I decided to apply mostly because it just looked really interesting, and I don't think there's many positions like this that are for a whole year and pay at least okay, a survivable amount in London. So it just seemed like a really good opportunity.
I consumed quite a lot of the IfG's materials, so I really liked the explainers on the website. I thought they were really helpful, particularly for someone who wasn't coming from a politics history background. And I also really liked the podcast, so I thought it'd be a really good opportunity for me.
I was looking for opportunities in communications where I could use the skills that I'd learned through doing bits of journalism and work in the field of government and policy, but not particularly politics. And I thought the IfG was in a really unique space in being a think tank and being independent and non-partisan. but also engaging with really academic and incisive research. And it seemed like a great place where I could use my skills and learn so much more about the world of government and politics.
What does my team work on? I could give a whole list of this.
I work on the public bodies team, and what we work on, the clue is kind of in the name. So we work on public bodies, which are organisations which deliver a public or government service, but work with some degree of independence from central government. There are hundreds of these bodies. Some of them are really big and you'll definitely have heard of, like NHS England. Some of them are smaller, like the Sports Ground Safety Authority, but all of them deliver a really important public service. And we essentially look at how these bodies are configured, we look at how they perform, and we look at how they're held accountable for that performance.
So I'm part of the civil service and policy making team, but I mostly do work with the civil service part of that. So far we've been working on our major publication, Whitehall Monitor, which is our annual performance-driven assessment of the civil service and recommendations for reform. That's come out recently, and I've also just started doing work on our Commission for the Centre of Government, which is essentially a research project on how the centre of government currently operates and how it should operate.
So public services, that's health, that's schools, that's police, that's prisons, social care. Basically any public service that the public will regard as important for the functioning of this country. So looking at their performance, for example, looking at investment, that sort of thing.
I think the comms team plays a really pivotal role at the Institute for Government. We're a really busy team and a really varied team in terms of what we're doing, working across all the research teams, helping them to publish and disseminate and share and promote the really wonderful research that they're doing. So whether that's uploading new content, editing content, keeping it all up to date, or helping with the event delivery, or reacting to news developments and helping to organise media appearances. I think the comms team is super busy and a really varied workload each day.
So I'm on Team Devo, so we work on devolution, which is to both the nations and the regions, so quite a large remit. So it's mostly looking at how the union works, keeping an eye on independence debates, and kind of looking into the more sub-regional in the UK at the moment, so looking at English metro mayors and the emergence of combined authorities.
Public finances looks at fiscal policy and economic policy, so tax and borrowing and spending, and we look at the way decisions are made and implemented in terms of public policy.
The Ministers team is probably one of the most reactive in the IfG, so we do quite a wide variety of work, everything from reshuffles to training for new ministers, and it sort of varies day by day. So some days you come in and there's been a reshuffle overnight and you have to update lots of charts, and other days you come in and you're trying to sort of research who was Minister for Women in 1992 or something like that. So it really does vary day by day.
Has everyone already said there's no typical day at the IfG?
Not really a typical day, but I imagine most people say that, because I think that might be quite a IfG-wide thing.
Sounds like quite a cliche to say, but there is no typical day for the comms intern. It really depends on what's happening each week. There are loads of events being held at the Institute for Government. We've just had our big Government 2024 conference. So we could be helping out with the on-the-day delivery, event logistics beforehand, and also the social media, promoting the event, promoting the content afterwards, and then keeping up to date with all the research teams and what they'd like promoted and shared on the website and other platforms.
In my typical day, I would say I do a lot of reading, but that's luckily not particularly dry academic articles. It's often what journalists have written or opinion pieces or current affairs, also a lot of other think tank reports. I also do a lot of work with data, so with big Excel spreadsheets where we look at data about the civil service. I also have quite a few meetings every day. That could be meeting with my team to chuck around ideas for our next project, or it could be more on the project management side of things.
So no disrespect from anyone I've ever worked with before, but I've never worked anywhere like this. And I think what is really key is that everybody's pulling in the same direction, everybody's got the same goal in mind, and we're all working to a common end. So everyone is friendly and welcoming and supportive, and yes, I love it.
It's a really friendly place. Everyone's always willing to sort of help you with any questions you had, which is often a lot, and sort of get you involved with lots of different projects. You're not sort of stuck doing one boring task. You get sort of spread around, and you get an opportunity to help out right across the institute, whether that's running sort of our events or doing research or communicating that research just with a wider audience. You get involved with everything.
I really enjoy working at the IfG. I think particularly because of my colleagues, I find it very motivating that everybody's genuinely enthused by the work that they do and are very interested in other people's work. Everybody wants to help and support. And I really enjoy that kind of collaborative, mission-driven atmosphere here.
I have to say, this is a very friendly workplace. Like, everyone gets on well with each other, everyone's willing to help each other. So if you have something difficult, find something interesting, it's a great place where you can share your findings and find out something new.
So I think the thing that I've enjoyed most so far is that there's no typical day. I really like being able to just take your day in a completely different direction than the one that you thought you were going to start with. But I guess in terms of like the thing that I've enjoyed the most, quite early on, I was involved in making a podcast for Devolution, and that was just really fun because I'd never seen the behind the scenes of making a podcast before, and I even had to be a voice actor, which in your first month at a new job isn't really what you expect.
I've really enjoyed joining the IfG with kind of a cohort of interns. It creates a really nice sort of network of people that you can rely on, and there's also lots of opportunities to learn from one another. You don't usually get to work with one another on research because you're in different teams, but we do get to collaborate on different projects. Like, we're all working together on an initiative to increase the diversity of the workforce at the IfG and make our work more accessible to a wider audience.
I really enjoy working with all the different teams at the IfG. I think in the comms intern role, you really get a good oversight of what each of the teams are working on, and whether that's editing their research or helping them promote a particular project that they've been working on. I've gained a really good and in-depth overview of all the different research areas at the IfG, and definitely learnt a lot about areas that I didn't have so much knowledge in before, and learnt more about those that I was interested in. And it's great to be surrounded by really wonderful colleagues who are always supportive and willing to talk to you more about the exciting research projects they're working on.
Just seeing sort of the quantity of output the IfG puts out in a single week has been surprising.
I think the thing that surprised me the most was how much responsibility interns were given quite early on in the internship. I feel like you really do get the opportunity to contribute to some really important research quite early on, and you're kind of trusted to do that, which is really nice. But obviously you are given support along the way and lots of learning and development opportunities to help you succeed in that.
You pretty much get stuck in with what the team is doing right from the start. Right from the start, involved in a big project on like preventative public services, doing the research for that, reading the literature review for that, researching possible data for that. It is very kind of heavy from the get-go, but it's something that's proving really rewarding.
I wasn't expecting to know that it was 11 o'clock because the band of the Welsh Guards marches past every day.
I guess to not be put off by thinking that you're not the person that's going to enjoy or benefit this, because I didn't have any kind of politics background. Definitely didn't know anything about the Metro Mayors before I joined the IfG. Barely knew what a think tank was, really. So yeah, I'd just say go for it.
I'd really encourage you to apply for an internship at the IfG. It's a really smooth application process, and you'll learn a lot about the organisation through it. And it's a great opportunity to further your skills, whether you're interested in communications or research. and learn a lot more about the work that the IfG is doing as well. And you definitely don't need to be an expert in every research or topic area of the IfG.
I would say if you're interested in research and politics and current affairs, definitely go for it. Don't be put off by the fact that the questions are very policy related. You don't need to have a policy background, which I didn't. It's definitely something you can prepare for, read up on current affairs, watch the news. That's something I did and I think it helped me a lot.
I'd recommend going and looking at our explainers, of which we have more than 400 now on the website. I particularly recommend looking at the Team Minister's explainers, but any explainer will do. I think these give sort of a really good sort of synthesis of the work the IfG is doing, a really good way to sort of get to grips with what our reports are saying without reading thousands and thousands of pages. And the extra advantage of reading the explainers is that if you do get the internship, you'll be updating them quite a lot. So it's best to get reading now.
I would say the best thing to do would be to familiarise yourself with our kind of research output. Obviously, we have a lot to read, so it might be best to focus in on one or two topics and maybe read what we've written in depth, perhaps compare it to what other think tanks might have said on the topic, because the IfG occupies quite a unique space in the think tank sector. A lot of other think tanks are quite focused on particular policies, where obviously we're more focused on kind of processes, institutions, structures. So yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
It's simple, go for it. You might not be sure you want it, that this is an area you consider. You might even not be sure that this is an area you want to do, but have a go. If it works out well, you end up like me.
Don't limit yourself by thinking there's a typical candidate. So in last year's video, one of them said, people, it's no barrier being a little bit older than the others. And I thought, well, you haven't seen anything yet. And so don't think because you have other experience that you won't be considered. Every background and experience has a chance. So the main advice is go for it.